Hey guys, I'm going to be doing your twin flame or spiritual soulmate video of a comparison, or it'll have both the divine feminine and the divine masculine. I have to say that out of all the videos I've done so far, this one has probably been the hardest for me to start. As soon as I started meditating on this energy to do the reading, I started having just a lot of pain, nausea, so much anxiety. Even more when I started meditating and asking for guidance. I started getting even more anxiety. I mean, it's hard. Almost to the point where, I mean, if it keeps going, I'll stop and come back to this video. But I have a feeling it was meant to come to say during this video. And hopefully it goes away during the video. So I'm even more trying to concentrate during it too. So if you see me a little anxious at first, that's why. So I feel like a lot of this energy that I'm feeling is the divine masculine's feelings. Yes, I think the feminines are they're anxious about it as well. They might occasionally have nausea and stuff like that as well, especially if they're newer to this journey or a new wave to it. But I think for the most part, a lot of the divine feminines, or at least the ones that have went through a lot of this, a lot of them have already purged all this energy, or I just really think what I'm feeling is the masculine's energy. So as I was shuffling and laying out the cards, there was a couple cards that did come out, so I'll read those first and then I'll get to the lineup and the rest of the reading. But I think that the divine masculines are really going through a rough time, a time of confusion, a time of battling within, power struggles within, really having to just fight internal struggles, like the devil within. Their ego, their patterns, what they want, what their higher self is guiding them towards versus their humanistic or egoic desires and what they're used to throughout living their life. They're really battling that within, as well as I think they're going through a lot of hard times themselves. And not only with this connection, but also in their lives, either with karmic partners, or just people around them, their thoughts, the situations. They're just, I mean, your outside world mirrors your inner too. So it would make sense that since they're so conflicted, the world around them is also going to be very conflicted. They're going through a lot of hard times, especially with the Scorpio energy going on right now. And Jupiter being in Scorpio, so it's expanding all of that and everything they're going through and all the Scorpio energies. It's just really hard on them. So the first card that came up is, as I was shuffling the different decks, all these cards were just ones that came out. Like, I didn't pull them. I wasn't trying to. They were just ones that they kind of wanted to speak their own little story on the side. I think it's a little bit of an overlay of the rest of the spread as well, but you know, whatever. They wanted to speak on their own. and you have very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. And I feel like this is between the feminine and the masculine, but it's more about the divine masculine and how they're feeling, or what they're, an additional thing they're really wanting the divine feminine to know. And it's that they're really trying to decide right now what they want. I think they're trying to balance their own masculine and femininity within themselves, as well as this is the work the feminines are supposed to be doing. I think most of them are, and they're a little farther along, or a lot farther along in some cases. And that's part of your role, is to assist and lead, either and or by example, and also energetically. But they're trying to decide on what they want, because they want to know which way to go to. They're kind of tired of the chaos as well, or very soon they'll be deciding it. And I think the main reason, it is the relationship, but it's also the fact that they're aiming for stability and grounding. They're really wanting to anchor down, and especially like with their emotions. Like if you look at all the water, like they really just want to be emotionally stable again, and just really anchor that down. And just emotionally right now, I think they're all over the place on, what do I want? What's the best thing for me? Which way should I go? Fighting patterns. They're really fighting, like the devil came up. This is the Tarot of Sexual Magic, so it does have a little bit of nudity and explicit things, so FYI. He's the devil anyways. There's a bunch of naked ladies in the background. He's at like a party. He's holding a sexual toy or object. So on one hand, there's a part of him that is really having fun right now, and is really wanting to finish exploring that animalistic, instinctual side of himself. Having fun, sexual expression, variety, not wanting to be tied down or limited. And, part of that is enjoyable. They enjoy that freedom. They enjoy that lust. They even enjoy that naughtiness, if you will. But there's also a part of them that's fighting that, because they do want the emotional connections as well. They do want this connection that they had either in the past, or what that huge part is of themselves is pulling them to, that spiritual side, whether they're in knowledge of it or connecting to it or not. So, their ego is fighting it as well. But if you look at this is the Knave of Cups, the chalices, but it's the Page of Cups. So it's, could be the beginning of a love, but also kind of an immature love. But if you look, he's there trying to write a letter, and he keeps writing. There's like at least 3 letters so far. Well, 3 that he's written and balled up, and 1 that's still there. And he just keeps writing and balling them up, throwing away, and writing and balling them up, throwing away. And he's getting so angry and so anxious, and just so like he just doesn't know. He has so many thoughts and so many things coming to his head, and he doesn't know which way to go and which way will be best. There's also a mask that's, I don't know if you could see it, but there's a mask right here that is laying on the table. So it's like, what do I say? I'm having a hard time expressing myself. Do I express myself? I want to say something so bad. It's like he's trying to, but he doesn't know which way to go, or every time he does, it just doesn't come out right. do I speak what I'm really emotional about, or do I keep some of the mask on? How much of it do I take off? How much of myself do I really reveal? And on one hand, he could be really upset if you're with a karmic partner and he's really egoic and jealous about it. This almost looks like illusion-like, or like in the past type thing, and the moon representing emotion. So he could be thinking of yours and his connection and something he's really emotional about. You know, also like a full moon, you know, he also looks angry, almost like werewolfish, you know, almost to where he is in the middle of or transitioning right now, and he's kind of in that more angry, egoic phase. But this is what he's wanting to transition to, is this loving, emotional connection. But he's really having a hard time transitioning to that, and he's having a hard time expressing himself. And do I want to? And how much of my mask do I let down? And I really think a lot of this is him fighting his instincts and his intuition. And what's pulling him to do it is his intuition. He's wanting to speak a truth, the Ace of Swords. And he wants you to know, you know, he is very emotional about this situation. He really deeply cares for it. And he's wanting to open himself and be vulnerable and let you know, like, it's very hard on him, though. Like, you can look at the darkness in the background, almost like it's the beginning of stormy weather. So it's really hard for him, but he wants to open himself and be emotional with you and open up his vulnerabilities and even some secrets and truths. But he feels like it's going to bring a storm or some hard times, and he might have been avoiding it. But a lot of the things I'm getting from this is that the truth he wants to reveal to you, like if you look, there's a lot of like guppies or fish around him. So he's having a lot of things doing with patterns. But there's also, I believe, a lot of juggling going on with him. Because at the bottom of this deck, I'll just show you these real quick and then I'll explain. There's the Queen of Wands. There's the Two of Pentacles. The Ace of Swords. The Five of Pentacles. The Six of Cups. The Knight of Wands, the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, the Fool, the Devil, and the Hierophant. So the truth with the patterns and with the juggling is there's a lot of guilty pleasures around him, but there's one of them that he holds dear to his heart and is something that he wants to nurture more, just cares. It means more to him. It's better than these little donuts. I mean, it's like a big ice cream cone baby, sundae cone baby. But one of them is just different and better than the rest. It shows the same in this card. She's juggling, but she's got her eye. Like all the rest of these are having to do with marbles and tossing marbles. But this is a button. And she's looking at that. She's juggling all this, but she has her eye on one of them. And one of them is different and more important and better than the rest. And that's you. And that's the truth of this. Another Ace of Swords. And something that they're really sad and kind of conflicted about, but there's just this truth they want to say that they're kind of scared about. It makes them nervous. It makes them sad, a little unhappy. They're worried. They're regretful about their actions in the past, about juggling and placing things over you. And you'll see that in the past. It's also in their message to you at the end. And they're really wanting to show you this and how they're sad about things from the past. And they want to show you and tell you, but it's also being reflected to them. So not only are they, in a way really wanting to talk to you about it, it's really going through their mind. And they really just want to rush to you. They have so much passion and so much love that they're wanting to bring to you. And it's like on the rocking horse. Like, rocking horses don't really go anywhere. But if you look, the back feet are coming off. And she's really whipping this to action. But the back feet are coming off, which means it's taken them a while to get going. They've really been stuck for a while. But they're really starting to push forth. And that horse is really starting to move. On the rocking horses that don't normally go anywhere. And again, this ball in the back, it's patterns. And they're wanting to come. You have 3 nights in a row. They're wanting to bring you passion and love and the Knight of Swords, something that's long lasting. Again, another thing that's being whipped. And they've been moving very slow about it because, they're kind of afraid that you dislike them and they hold so many things against themselves that they think you hold it against them because they hold it also against themselves. And they're also, trying to face a lot of their internal things and control issues and being controlling and demanding. But they are coming towards you, and it very well could be something long lasting as long as both you guys have really done the work. But they want a fresh start from, being this. Not only them being in the position of this woman with their patterns and the people around them, but also doing that to you. But that's also how much they desire you. I mean, you have 2 devil energies in this. So they're really trying to work on themselves. Some of them more than others, and some they don't even know. Part of the reason they're conflicted is because their higher and spiritual self is really trying to get them on the move and work on themselves. There's a lot of situations that are either crashing around them or triggering them, and they may not even fully know why, but there really is the Hierophant. So they're really learning some lessons right now. They're wanting, in all actuality, they want a higher commitment in this relationship and in this connection with you. But at the moment, they are learning lessons. And a lot of karmic lessons too. I mean, you have internal things as well that maybe they're dealing with, not being fair in the past, not being fair and holding others to certain things that they're not following themselves, and being controlling and wanting admiration. Like, look at all of them. They're all like praising him. And, in the past, they were just very egoic. They wanted to be praised. They wanted to be on that higher level. They wanted control. They wanted to be able to do whatever they want, but to control what other people did, being hypocritical and not being fair. And they're kind of learning the lessons of that now. But in the end, they really want this higher level of commitment with you. The way they feel right now is, even if they're putting on a face, they have the 3 of Swords. They just feel drained, stuck. She's crying. Have you guys been feeling sad lately? I know last night I felt an energy very strong, and I could tell it wasn't mine. So I think they're going through a lot of sadness and confusion and just exhaustion and anxiety and even anger, but that's how they're feeling. They're trying to transform. If you look at her wings, part of this process, or this process, is transforming them as well as help transform you, but they're just done and being exhausted and over it, and that is part of their process of transforming. So they also are emotionally and mentally hurt, and it's, of matters of the heart, but they also know that this is what they've done to you. They know, the masculines, divine masculines, know that the feminines have really put in more of this is the Three of Pentacles, that they've been the ones putting in all of the work, and he's kind of just been standing there letting her do it. And they know that the feminines are just kind of getting tired of it. So all the work that you divine feminines have been doing, it is noticed. They do see it, whether they tell you or not. And they do feel bad about it, and they do recognize it. And it's like it looked like he's writing something like, this is something I want her to know, and a letter I want her to know. And I don't know if you can see it on here, but this bird, I don't think it's going to focus well enough. It's almost like it's bringing something to the masculine. It has something in its mouth as this bird is flying to the divine masculine. So not only are birds a message of their communication and messages, but it's like, it's funny actually, because the bird is bringing the masculine a message, and the masculine is writing the feminine a message. So I don't know if he's getting messages or channeled messages, and he thinks it's from him, but he doesn't know what it's from, or if I think he's getting downloads, whether he realizes it or not. So he does see that you've been putting in the work, whether he tells you or not. But you might be receiving messages soon, or he's trying to, because you have two cards like this one, he's trying to figure out what to say. And in this one, he's receiving messages and he's preparing messages. It's interesting, I just noticed that. Okay, so let's get started with the spread. What the divine masculine sees, or how the divine masculine sees himself, or what's in his mind, like what's in his headspace, is you have breathe, he has breathe, and he has messages in a bottle reversed. So what he's doing and what he's thinking is he's just being patient and sitting back and not rushing into things. Trying to take a minute. He's confused and he's not wanting to rush into anything. He wants to make sure of what he's doing. Because I think he's confused. Like, he's ignoring the signs, ignoring the messages that are coming to him. So hopefully he receives that message properly on what to send to you. But he's really confused because he's getting mixed messages. On one hand, his ego is telling him one thing and his humanistic desires are telling him one thing. And his instinct and his higher self and his guides, whatever, are telling him another thing. And he feels that confliction, that pull in different directions, just like the divine feminine, divine masculine within yourself, but also within the spiritual connection. It's all about that pull and that polarity. And he's feeling that within himself. So especially if he's not understanding this connection yet, he's not going to know that this also goes outside of him. Some will know it. Some have been told about it. Some do not, and they're feeling or don't believe you, and they're just thinking it's within them, and they're confusing it, and they're like, well, I am so confused, and just so emotionally all over the place that I just need a minute, and I need to sit back and just take some breaths. What do I want? So they're really just not trying to like forge ahead at the moment. They're very confused and feel like they're pulled in many directions. What the divine feminine sees herself as, or what's in her headspace, is, you know, she also has some anxiety. Like, I mean, on the one hand, she's not needing to decide which way to go, because she's like, I know what I want, or we're like, I know what I want. But on the other hand, you know, we have so many questions of why and what's the meaning of all this, and isn't the attention, or the intention here? Am I reading this right? Am I wrong? Could this be all in my head? Why is all this going on? And just the confliction of knowing but not knowing. And it's kind of funny because it's mirroring with the masculine. Like, they're feeling that pull, but I feel like so are the feminines. Like, on one hand, they know, they feel that surety within themselves, but at the same time it just seems so surreal. And you also question yourself that you're giving yourself anxiety, and also possibly feeling the masculine's anxiety, and maybe feeling their feelings of unsurety as well. I mean, sometimes it's even so opposite you, where you're like, okay, I know this. I feel this with every fiber of my being. But man, what I'm experiencing, what I'm seeing, could that really come from this? Could all the things and the amazing things that I'm really feeling, and what I feel that this will come to be, could it really come from what's currently happening? Especially if you're not even talking, or they're just outright being disgusting to you. It's very confusing. So I feel like the feminines know, but they don't know. Some of them are like, no, I know. But there's a little bit of unsurety still in them. And some of them are like, you know, no, I don't know, or I'm over it. But they're really holding on. And, you know, they just really, they know the process, but at the same time, they just don't understand, like, why don't the masculines feel it? I know this so right and so sure within. It's so obvious. Why don't they see it? Why can't they just come around? Why can't they just, you know, get it together? It's a process. It's a growing process. And it's one of those things that, you know, it's to teach us. It's to teach them of their ways and their patterns, but also us and our triggers. Like, yeah, you might have gone through a lot of your other patterns that they're still having to work through, but now waiting on them to get through their patterns teaches you patience and compassion and love, especially self-love. You know, there's another thing about this too that sometimes I really think, you know, there is a slight chance, and some of you may not want to hear this, but some of us, whether it's the masculine or the feminines watching this, may not want to hear this, but there is also a chance that, you know, don't be putting expectations on this or what it comes out like, whether you're going to be meeting up with them in this lifetime, whether you're going to be romantically involved in this lifetime, whether it's going to be in the next 5 years or 10 years, whether you're going to meet, what it's going to be about. It is to release. There's a chance that you could be feeling this connection just to teach yourself patterns in this lifetime for other future soulmates. Not the triggering and karmic part, but more triggering of the twin flame, but more to just be that kind of rush to get you through your patterns and knowing things for your soulmate, but it may not be this lifetime that you actually meet up with them. You could meet up with them and create a union, but it could be as friends or as business partners or just as, like I said, learning the patterns. Like, I love you and commit to you to push you forward. And through this, I love and commit to you to push you forward. And you guys come together just to push forward. And then you come together again just to push forward. While never romantically coming together in this lifetime. Or if you do come together in this lifetime, it either be as business partners or friends. Or if it is romantic, it may not be in the next year or two. It may not be within the next even 5 years or something. It may be not in the time you say, or you may go through one long-standing relationship just to come later in their long-standing relationship. It may come together just to do your missions in life, whether together or to have met up, built up some lessons, and learn and push off to do your missions separately. Or to go and do them separately to come back. It's almost like that movie, Hancock, with Will Smith, and I don't know the lady's name. She has blonde hair. But when I was watching it, and I think someone else actually, after I saw it and thought of it, referenced on a YouTube channel it as a twin flame thing. But I was thinking when I was watching, because they've been together for like years and years and years, and they always have to stay apart because they're weaker together. They become weak and either like die or have no powers. They can't do their mission of helping others and being, having powers and doing good in the world if they're together. And I think some can, but some of them can't because the connection is so powerful that it weakens you and it makes you also discombobulated and forgetting what you're supposed to do and forgetting about yourself and self-love and your mission and your life path because it's so strong and controlling. Which means my main point in all this is not to burst anybody's bubbles, but it's to know that one of the greatest lessons of this is to have patience and is to have faith and to let go of the control and the expectations and putting something in a box. Containment. I mean, especially divine masculines. I mean, they do not want to be contained. To this, and they're doing the same thing in this, but it just may not be what you want. In the that's why you have to do the work. Is to remember that this has to be unfolded naturally. It's out of anyone's control. It is being guided. And nobody knows what the end process is going to be. The end result, I'm sorry. But something just as beautiful. And be grateful for the journey no matter where it ends. Just release that control. We don't know. We feel the connection, and in some lifetime it will come. Hopefully in this, and hopefully that's why people are being awakened to it, and also to come so much to raise the frequency of the planet. But just remember that. It's just something I thought of earlier that came to me, and I feel like it was important to say. Because if you put so much on this and expectations, and you don't know what's supposed to come of it in this lifetime, it's not good for you and it's not healthy for you. And you're defeating the purpose of all this doing that. So how the divine masculine sees this relationship, they see it as something that you have milk and honey reversed. So upright, it's like, man, it's rainbows, it's sweet, It's nurturing. It's like refreshing. So on one hand, they see this as something that's not that great. Maybe something they don't want. And that doesn't mean that you're not like the cream of the crop to them. What it means is that they're kind of in a negative based thought pattern about it. And it's also something that like this would bring somebody like joy and happiness. This is going to bring somebody like anxiety. Like what this card means in reverse, it means that this situation brings them anxiety to the point that they try to run from it. And they try to distract themselves with other things, guilty pleasures, what I was saying earlier, and other instant gratifications to try to distract themselves from it, from the pull, from the feeling that they feel. It's not working very well. But they're trying. They're trying to run from it, and they're trying to dive into every other avenue to push it away, to distract it. To distract themselves and to bring themselves balance, but they can't forget it. If you look, this elephant, that's an elephant in the bowl of milk and honey. The elephant is bathing himself in this milk and honey. Elephants have great memories. They do not forget. So no matter what the masculine does or what he delves into, all these juggling of women, men, depending on the sex, because you can have you could have a divine masculine who likes men. You could have a divine feminine who has the masculine. You could have a female who has the divine masculine. Whatever it may be, whatever sex, they're with multiple people that they are juggling, and they're doing it to try to forget and distract themselves from this connection because it brings them such anxiety, and it's not working, and they just can't seem to forget about you. They cannot get it out of their head. How did the divine feminine sees the relationship? They see it as the start of something new, the start of something great, the resurgence, a new, fresh breath air. Let's start new. And they're wanting to, like she's stretching out. They're wanting to stretch their wings in this relationship, this connection. You have happy, happy reversed. So not only is this, you're trying to bring a light air to it. Like you're like, I see it for what it is. I know I need to be patient. I need to do all this stuff. I'm trying to remain lighthearted about it. To some degree, I'm being successful. But even in spite of that, there is a small part of me that is not happy. So I see you as also seeing things as you're trying to be lighthearted about it. You're trying to see it for what it is, and you're trying to stay happy, especially knowing like, well, if I keep my frequency up and my vibrations up, it'll also help him. So you're trying to do that, and part of you is succeeding, but part of you, this situation is you're not happy. It's sad, and it makes you sad, and it's hard on you. What the divine masculine wants, they have the here and now reversed. I get a couple things from this. So on one hand, what they want is they don't want to make any decisions. They just want to sit there, relax, you know, figure out what they want, not push forward. They want to sit and self-reflect, and see what they really want. They kind of want to dabble in a little bit of their guilty pleasures. They're having a little bit of fun, but they're also being very torturing themselves inside. They're also trying to think about things. And on one hand, they're living in the past and thinking of how things used to be. And part of them wants that. But part of them also knows it's not realistic. And there's also probably things about the past that they don't want back. And they're thinking it's going to be like that again. So it's like they want the good parts that were there initially, but knowing that it's a little unrealistic because they remember also the bad parts of it. And they're thinking that that's how it's going to be, and that part they don't want, or that you won't see them the same. The feminines won't see them the same because of how things ended in the past, in the times that weren't as good. They're also sitting there trying to think about their future, which is why, you know, they're kind of depressed and anxious. When you think about the future, you get anxiety. When you think about the past, you get depressed. But they're trying to think about the future and thinking, how can it be? Can I bring the good parts of that back? And they're not knowing whether they want to move forward because they can't see the future, or they're having a hard time placing, you know, you in their future now that you kind of know how they are or what's happened in the past. Trying to fit you in a box, just like they don't want you to be fitting them in a box. It's a mirroring. So even though they feel like you're fitting that, trying to put them in a box of expectations, they're doing the same thing to you. They're trying to fit this relationship in its own box of expectations. And they're like, I don't see how I can fit this in, because most of the time with, you know, twin flames or really soulful relationships, they're opposites to a lot of degree. There's different socioeconomical classes. One's very religious or spiritual, the other's not. One has a lot of kids, one doesn't. They're different ethnic backgrounds. Could be in different countries, different languages, different personalities. You know, one might be a little bit more of a homebody. The other is like they like to go out and party. You know, you get the idea. So they're really having, they're wanting to sit and self-reflect, and there's a lot of things they're thinking about. The Divine Feminine, she just got a book in this area. So, of what the Divine Feminine wants. She has flexible building blocks. I'm sorry, I want to do this in the daytime, it just didn't work out, so this will be a lot clearer other times. The cards. Between worlds. You got clean it up, reversed. Peace. Time to go. So what the Divine Feminine wants is, she wants to try to remain flexible while allowing the situation to grow. She sees the patterns as well, but she has stuff, you know, growing off of her. So she's also trying to finish up working on her patterns while being flexible, allowing things to grow. Maybe being flexible is one of her things she's working on. Trying to be flexible while this situation is growing and changing, and these are all the building blocks of whatever is supposed to come of this connection or relationship. While knowing it's between worlds, she's also wanting it to transition from this darkness to this beautiful, triumphant place that's filled with a lot more color and happiness. She doesn't want to let the connection go. She's questioning it, but she doesn't want to let it go. Clean it up is like to get rid of stuff. She doesn't want to get rid of it. It brings her peace, and she wants to have peace during the situation. She's wanting to have flexibility and calmness and peace while she's waiting. See the egg that's not cracked open? While she's waiting for this relationship to basically birth anew. The resurgence of it. she also has part of her that's being pulled that she wants to leave the situation and go. And I know I said she doesn't want to leave the situation, but it's that confliction I was talking about earlier, where on one hand, they want to stay. You can't run from it anyways. It's with you. You're stuck. But part of them wants to let go and cut the cords because it's so rough and so hard. And it's just like, ugh. But on the other hand, this time to go also means I'm ready to move on from the past. And the divine feminines are really wanting to walk through that door that brings the connection and the relationship to this. So, very conflicted also about whether staying or going, but that's where the flexibility needs to come in. Part of what is bringing the divine feminines such torture and unhappiness is having a hard time with that flexibility. And I get it. I know where you're like, no, I've been so flexible. I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to say something. I really don't care or how evolved you came during this process, or how much work you've done, or how much you're like, no, I'm fine. No, I'm great. I'm good. Yeah. Keep wearing your mask. Keep wearing it. Because they're going to keep wearing theirs too. And not gonna happen. It's not going to come together. I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm just saying anybody who's sitting there like, no, I'm fine. No, I've done all the work. No, blah, blah, blah. I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm good. I've done everything. No. And yes, there's a chance that the feminines could have done everything and they're waiting for like the universe to take over, wrapping up things on the masculine side. But you're always doing work, because even if you've done all your work, you're still having to evolve and do other things that's going to keep feeding him the energy and teaching him by example. And that literally might be one of the things of your connection, is not to come back together, but just by you being like, hey, I can't do this anymore, or standing up for yourself, or saying certain things or whatever. It was your soul contract to push him along to stand up for himself with his connections in his life. It may not bring you back together. It may just be that through knowing each other and you standing up for yourself, it gives them a better perspective on how to handle things in their life. It is a possibility. But I'm just saying, for ones who sit there like, no, I'm being patient, no, I'm being flexible, it's not hard at all. No, I'm good, I'm just waiting. I really don't believe it. Because there has to at least be a small part of this. But that I know what the connection feels like. So to have that, even if you get to the point of compassion, even if you get to the point of understanding, even if you're honestly happy for them and that they've found happiness in their life, if they have, there's still going to be that part that pulls on you, that makes you, you're still having to work on the flexibility on part of you and being happiness. It's natural. I almost would say, are you in a twin flame connection? If you were so at peace. I mean, yes, peace is part of what you want. But don't be too hard on yourself at the same time, because it's understandable. It's a constant process. You're going to get to points where you are okay. And then a month later, you're not. You might have dreams that bring it all back up again. Or you're like, oh, I can't do this, so I'm going to cut the cord. And guess what happens when you cut that cord? They feel it. They come and spiritually come and mess with you, or whatever you want to put on it. And you start having those dreams that just sucks you back into that rabbit hole. Because you tried to cut the cord. Because you got so impatient. Because you're like, ugh. So it's part of the lesson to keep working on yourself and being okay in spite of that. Because even if you do come into union, you're still going to have all this. You're still going to have that push and pull. You're still going to have that, what do I do with this? Anybody who sits there and thinks that this is something that's good, great, when we get together, it's done. Well, y'all are going to split up again. Because it's not, It's a continuous process your whole life. Just like spiritually evolving is a continuous process your whole life. Because it's the ebbs and flows. Kind of like exactly like the infinity sign of the twin flame. It's the cycles of life. You're kind of going to get in, you're going to be all right, and you're going to evolve, and then something's going to happen and you're going to sometimes you have to relearn lessons because you either forget or they come at you in different ways, or it's why daily meditation is really good. It's bringing you back to that center because stuff happens every day in life that knocks you out of whack and you got to recenter. You got to constantly stay recentered. So I don't know why I went into all this. I don't really know, but you get it. I'm going to move on. What the divine masculine needs is they have by the book. And these are all like doing things the way it's supposed to, following in the order. And what I get from it is, they're trying to learn to do the right thing. So they need to learn to do the right thing. Right thing is subjective. So I'm not going to get into that because that's, that varies with everybody. But just to how be good to people. But what I mostly get from this, especially in this relationship, is they need to learn how to go with the flow, how to stop resisting. Not only how to stop resisting their evolution and what their higher self is trying to get them to do, but to stop resisting this connection, or at the very least to spiritually evolve from it. And I do think they're evolving in some ways on their own, but I think a lot of them are resisting kind of the spiritual side of it, which is okay. But it's kind of one of your cards that come up too, where you see that side of it. And I get that because I understand it. Like when I started in all this, because I was always one of those people who was like, I was raised as a Catholic, and I'm not against Catholics, but I always considered myself more of a spiritual person. I always felt it more within than being told what to do or having someone else dictate it for me. And I'm not saying any of that is wrong. I don't put mine over anyone else, but I've always considered myself more spiritual because I felt it more just within me. But yet I've never really been wrong on like teaching it or preaching it or helping other people with it. Like I've always done my own thing. So when I started having my spiritual awakening, I kind of fought it a little bit to begin with because I felt like growing up, I almost had this rebellious nature in me. And I felt like, oh, if I'm really going with this, or I feel like I'm kind of conforming to that whole religious side. I never wanted to be like, no, I'm not being run by that. Like, I'm gonna rebel against that. I felt like it was almost trying to conform me. And I was starting to become something that I was always like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, even though I always felt it in me all along and it was always there whether I embraced it or not. And finally, I kind of came across this thought where it was like, no, Candace, for one, this is part of growing up. It's part of maturing. It's okay to mature. Maturing doesn't mean that you're no longer rebellious or you no longer have that childlike essence. You can still mature and have that child essence in you. And you can also mature and have that rebellious nature in you. What maturing means, and spiritually evolving, but mostly maturing, what that means is knowing when and how to use and embrace your rebellious nature. Your younger years in growing up was your time to experiment with your rebellious nature. It was your time to see what worked and what didn't, what was good for you and what was bad for you, what was like, ooh, I don't want to do that again. Oh, wow, that worked really good for me. Or, this was okay, maybe some slight tweaking. You get what I'm saying. But sometimes it's really hard. I know I felt it when I came into it, so I can't imagine that the masculines aren't feeling this way. But not wanting to lose that rebellious nature and that time to be able to do whatever you want. And, when you're a child, you can get away with doing it and not having as many consequences or repercussions, but you can't do that as much when you get older. And you almost feel like you're being forced into it. And it's that time of choosing to embrace it. And then when you embrace it, what to do, when to pick your battles, when to rebel in a good way, and when to stand up and fight for something, and when not to rebel just because, you want to be difficult, or you want to be your own, or being unique. It's It's using that rebellious nature to remain unique and fight for good causes and not do it just because, and when to use it and when not to. When you're younger, you can get away with using it in the wrong times, but maturing and evolving is knowing when to use it, how to use it, embracing it and using it for good and to push you forward and not just experiment and flounder all over the place. So they might very much be going through that as well and learning how to go with the flow and to stop resisting it and to utilize it for their benefit and know that it's actually a good thing. I'll move on from it, but it is something that when I started this whole thing, I had to be okay with and being seen that way. And, you know, here comes Candles as a Bible thumper, even though I'm not a Bible thumper, but you get the idea. Like, you didn't want to be put in that box and you didn't want to lose your rebellious nature, or your childlike essence. And once you embrace it and know what the lesson of it all is all about, you realize, oh, I didn't lose any of that. Like, it was the box. You were projecting it. And it's really like you being scared of you putting yourself in a box and you being scared of losing your childlike nature and your rebelliousness. And it was you putting yourself in your own box, but projecting it onto the world and realizing that none of it was real. So you could still be rebellious. You could still be childlike, that spirit. And you could still embrace all of your beautiful inner spirituality in the same way. And I just think they don't know that yet, and they're fighting it. What the divine feminine needs is she needs to use her intuition. She needs to rely on her deep knowing. Like I said, going back to that why question, and, you know, you feel it. You feel it inside. That sounds horrible. You feel the pull inside. But it sometimes the 3D outside reality is so opposite of what you see and feel inside that you're just like, is it real? Am I delusional? No. Use your intuition. I'm not saying nobody is. Be careful, people. Don't let your thoughts get away from you. Don't be crazy. Use your intuition. Remember that. Remember your wisdom and your intuition. And here's the thing too. If you're learning your lessons and you're practicing self-love, you're moving on regardless, you're doing your thing financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually, creatively, giving back, you know, all the stuff wrapped up in this. It's all going to unfold the way it's supposed to anyways. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about if you're being delusional. Let go of expectation. That will take care of it. That will take care of the delusional part. Because if you have expectation, you could find them crazy rabbit holes. Be careful. Use your intuition. What influences are acting in favor of the divine masculines is they have time for a nap. So I feel like they're resting, they're recharging, they're gathering their thoughts. They might even be dreaming, like this fox is sleeping. And I feel like, every time I say that, I feel like being like, I feel like chicken tonight. Do you remember those commercials? Don't judge me. But every time I say that, it comes in my head, like I feel like chicken tonight. I kind of want to stop saying it because of that, but I can't think of anything else to say. So whatever. But I feel like they're having dreams. And I even more feel this too because, I feel it on my end. So besides this card, but I feel like they're waiting. They're being patient. They're not pushing forward or being impulsive. And this is not a journey to be impulsive about. I feel like some of the women are so ready. They're trying to be impulsive about it. So I also feel like not only is this something that's for the masculine and what's going good for them, but this is a lesson for the divine feminines. Embrace this energy with them. And some are being patient. But if you're not, also take a step back and relax and meditate and be patient. Like this is also about not only relaxing and taking a step back, but they knowingly or unknowingly are allowing this situation to unfold naturally. But I do also believe that a lot of them are having dreams, downloads, and dreams. What is positively influencing or acting in favor of the divine feminine is we have poised. Divine feminines have poised. So this is not only trying to embrace a lot of them are embracing that positive energy, at least mask-like, but the positive energy. But poised is also about being ready. So some are ready, but a lot of them, what's acting in their favor is that they're actively doing the work to get ready. So good job. But they're doing a lot of the work to get ready and be ready. And that's also helping not only us, but it's helping the divine masculines as well. The influences that are acting against the divine masculine is they have a change in the wind reversed. This is two things. This, on one hand, is that they're having a lot of chaos in their surroundings that they are not able to control. So they could be in karmic partnerships that they're not able at the moment to do anything about or act about at the moment. But some tower moments are also happening in their surroundings. And it's also causing emotional hurt, confusion, anxiety. So not only is this relationship and connection doing it, but what's in their current environments is also causing a lot of chaos. And some of it is because of them, but some of it they cannot control. They may not even be able to focus on you right now because there's so much going on around them. I also feel what this means for this connection is that they are not allowing change. Some of them cannot at the moment because of what is going on in their environment, and or some of them are not allowing the change in this situation. And that's okay. They're going through their process and they're on their journey right now. But it is working against this connection to the degree of it is slowing it down, but it's what has to be. It's the process that's unraveling in the way it should be. What's acting against or not in favor of the divine feminine in this relationship is there's co-create in reverse, and there's blessed in reverse, blessed upright. Co-create in reverse means you're putting in way too much work. Blessed upright is about receiving a gift from the universe that blessed upright is about receiving a gift from above, the universe, divine, God, source, that you have not worked for. You have not done something to achieve. It's just you were blessed with it. What co-create in reverse and bless is saying is stop trying to put so much work into controlling the situation or the outcome of this connection or relationship. Let it be a gift and unfold as it should. Let it be the blessing it is. Don't put so much work into it. Put that work and energy into you, into your life, into bettering yourself, into helping others, into holding space, into giving back, into fulfilling your life journey and purpose. Because no matter what happens, that's what you came here to do anyways. Like, it'll really suck if you're putting so much energy into this and stopping what you came here to do because of this. There's times too that this might actually be taken away from you or halted by the universe or source because they're like, all right, she's not getting it. He, she, divine feminine, they're not getting it. They're not doing the work. We can't give her this right now. Let's intervene right now and hold this off because she's not getting it. So you might actually also be impeding the progression of this. Take that energy and put it on yourself. Put it in self-love. Put it in helping others. Put it in your soul mission, your path, what you came here for anyways. Let the universe, your higher self and their higher self, handle the unraveling in that. Stop trying to control it. Stop trying to control the outcome of it. What the divine masculine needs to do, they need to stop with the patterns. This is all about patterns, round and round. They need to stop the patterns. They need to realize their responsibility or role in the patterns. How are they contributing to the problems and patterns in their life? And stop putting it all on other people like it's their problem or their doing. They need to see their part in it and start doing the work to ending those patterns. Like they got the devil, twice. So they're working on that. They see that, and their higher selves are assisting with that. So what they need to do is stop the patterns and take responsibility for how they're contributing to them. What the divine feminines need to do, they have exchanging gifts, the divine feminines. They need to focus on that even give and take. Pull back if they're not. Hold space. Do you. Also, it's about charity and giving to others. So like I said, focusing on yourself, doing what you need to do, focusing on your life mission, your life path, helping others, giving back. Make sure everything's an even give and take. Stop giving so much to it if they're not. Stop trying to control it if they're... Stop trying to control it anyways, but match. Also bring that balance, that gift of a balanced mirror. Lead by example. Even give and take. Even bringing of energies. And do your mission. Give back to others. Help others. You know where I'm going with this. What the divine masculine wants the divine feminine to know. They have all that glitters. What the divine masculine wants the divine feminine to know is they want you to know, they know they've been wearing a mask and they haven't been being real with you. They want you to know that they feel bad and they know it's not right that they've been chasing all this surface level stuff, people, things, shiny new objects, people, surface level, instant gratification, fulfilling their needs. They haven't been real. They've been wearing a mask, being fake, not being right. Just following a facade in an illusion. They also want you to know, and they feel bad and they're sorry for the fact that they haven't seen your worth. That they haven't been treating you like the treasure that you are. That they've made you feel devalued. That they were placing other value above, like other things were more valuable than you. That you weren't good enough to hold their attention or to show their affection to, or to be fair. They know they haven't seen you for what you are and what you're worth, and they've been looking at surface level things, and that doesn't mean that you weren't the gold because they weren't chasing you. They haven't just been wearing a mask to you. They've been wearing a mask for themselves, a false reality. They're starting to realize the importance they've placed on certain things. Surface level, you know, just very egoic and greedy. And not really looking at the beauty and the connections within and that deeper level. They've been very fake and just surface level stuff. No judgment is needed to be had for that. It is understandable, and it was their path and their journey. But they realized it about themselves, and they've been realizing what their patterns are with other people and their karmic relationships, and the fact that they've made you feel devalued. They haven't put this work into it, and that they haven't been looking at you properly and treated you for the true treasure that you are. And they also realize, just like I said, that they haven't done the work to try to see who you really are within. If they don't know who they are within and they judge themselves on a surface level, of course they're going to treat you on a surface level. It's not to be taken personally. I hope you know that. I hope you, as the Divine Feminine, have done enough work to know that. They're doing the work to try to take the mask off, whether it comes around to you or not. And hopefully you've already done this for yourself. Like I said earlier, if you're still wearing a mask, even if you're acting okay but you're not, or you're not speaking your truth, or you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not looking at yourself at a deeper level, they're not going to take that look at themselves at a deeper level. But they really do care about you, and they're starting to realize not only how they've been treating themselves and how they've been treating others, but more importantly, how they've been treating you and how they've made you feel like you're not the treasure that they're now seeing you as, especially if you've really been living your truth and leading by example. And they're starting to look at things from a deeper level. And it doesn't mean that you're not beautiful on the outside. What it's saying is that when you only look at people for the beauty on the outside, everybody's beautiful. It's when you start to look at that deeper level that you see what really connects you to one person versus the other. And that's what they're starting to learn and delve into. What the Divine Feminine wants the Divine Masculine to know, they have to be fair in reverse. Like this way, she's holding the scales. One of them says a fortune cookie, nope. And the other one is the egg waiting to open, but this is in reverse. And what that's saying, the Divine Feminine is saying to the Divine Masculine is, it's okay. It's not okay that you treat me bad. I don't want to be devalued, but everybody has their own journey. I realize you've been on a journey, and I will be here. I will come to you with empathy and compassion, and I will have patience during this. I will not sell myself out for anybody, even you, because I'm here for, my soul journey at the end of the day, but I will not judge you. And if you are judging them, or you're coming to them judgmentally and not just listening but speaking your truth, but listening to what they have to say and just going at them and holding resentment, please work on that. But this is not something to be judgmental about. Yes, have boundaries. Yes, work on yourself. Yes, don't take anything less than, proper respect and treatment from somebody. But do not be judgmental. And this may not only be a message from the Divine Feminine to the Divine Masculine. It might be a message from your own Divine Feminine to your 3D feminine body or masculine body, if you are a masculine with the Divine Feminine energy. And if you are judging them, it means you're still judging yourself. You have work to do. But we're going to keep this right now as a message from the Divine Feminine to the Divine Masculine. I have compassion. I have empathy. I have faith and trust in this process, and love is unconditional. It should be in all situations, but especially this. And we are not here to judge you. All of us have gone through a process, and all of us have had a role to play in this, and all of us have had patterns. Worry not about judgment. Because that's what they're really worried about. They're really worried about our judgment. Because they're in a process of really judging themselves. So, your romance angel cards, you have engagement. This level, this connection is not only moving to a higher level, but its lesson and process is about helping us to evolve to a higher level of commitment. Either with each other or with other people. If this connection is just about lessons, that is a possibility. But also a higher level of engagement within ourselves. I mean, this masculine is really wrapped by this female in this picture. So they might go from being like, who? To they're wrapped. I don't know. Keep that on balance. Because you don't always want to have somebody wrapped. But you get what I'm saying. It's kind of funny. A little bit. But religious factors are affecting this. So you might be highly religious, highly spiritual. They're not. They can't really see how they can fit you in their life. They're resisting their own spiritual evolution. But either way, your beliefs and their beliefs in this are in some way affecting this. I do think a lot of them they're resisting their own spiritual growth. You've already been showing your spirituality and growth, and they're just like not really kind of like digging it at the moment, and they're resisting it within themselves, which is going to make them fighting and a little more egoic and trying to like run away and go within their, guilty pleasures. But, they'll work it out. You have give your relationship a chance. So, relax. Even if you're not working on this, or even if the divine masculine isn't technically working on this, as they're working on themselves and trying to figure things out, they are working on this partnership, on this connection. Stay optimistic, which is what I'm trying to say. I know you're over here, the feminines are like, look at all this I'm offering, and this guy is just like a statue. They're not doing anything. They're not saying anything. They're not looking at me. They're stone. They have a heart of stone. Just stay optimistic. Know that you're not offering this just as statue. They are a real boy. They are real. They have emotions. They're working through things. It's, their stuff still has to open up. It still has to go. So just have optimism. Give it a chance. It is growing to a higher level. These spirituality differences will work themselves out, whether they become spiritual or not. If they're evolving, spirituality is the alignment within. So whether they're claiming to be spiritual or not, they are aligning. So they don't have to, be as like, namaste as you, but, you get it. So I went to pull one love card from the Whispers of Love deck, I think by Angela Hartfield. One as for both, but I ended up getting like a set of 3 and a set of 3. And I could tell the first one was for the masculine and the second one was for the feminine. So, hey. So, the 3 divine masculine cards from the Whispers of Love deck is actions speak loudly. Express your love through actions. I love these cards. They're so beautiful. And the Nature's Whispers. There's one more I want to get to. I can't think of the name of it, but the art is so pretty. She's like riding on this bird. Love is all around you. There is love everywhere all the time. Simply acknowledge this as truth. I don't know if you can see that though, well. And choose love. You always have a choice as to what you should do. So the divine masculines right now, are really learning, they're trying to figure out and having to learn how to express themselves and express how they feel. I mean, you have this also with, here's this message. They're trying to figure out how to express themselves. They're having trouble. And you also have it, where was that? Oh, that's right. In this one, where the bird is bringing them a message and they're trying to figure out how to write it behind the female's back to send it to them while she's working on it, but getting tired of it and being like, screw this, I'm going to go work on this in my own time. You're boring me. So they're having to work on expressing themselves, and not only in verbalization and talking, or I don't know, maybe some are giving gifts, but also through their actions. They're really learning how, like, you know, that they just really haven't been showing it with their actions. Love is all around you. There's love everywhere all the time. Simply acknowledge the truth. They've just been in a very negative state. They really haven't been focusing on love, seeing love, feeling love. You know, this isn't really about love. You know, they've been kind of like dabbling here and there, juggling and everything. They do feel love, but they've been trying to avoid it and run from it. And it's about embracing the love that's around them and seeing the love. And even though they've been in a negative pattern and not thinking it's there, not wanting to see it, they're learning how to embrace it, learning how to see it, learning how to express it. And it's not all going to be in the same way. Everybody's different. Everybody has different parts to the horoscope and all of that and all their lessons to learn. So it's all going to be in different ways, but they're learning how to look at things more from a loving, compassionate standpoint, and that love is expressed in different ways, how to express themselves, how to embrace it, how to you know, balance their emotions so that they don't have to run from it. And choosing love, you always have a choice as to what to do. So they're learning, you know, I have to make a choice or something's going to be chosen for me, and it may not be an outcome I like. But also knowing that they felt for a while that they've been imprisoned or kind of stuck, and that they don't really have a choice, or things haven't been the way they wanted, and just kind of in a grumpy, negative, bah-humbug mood. And they're starting to really see not only that love is all around them, but that they are the creators of their own destiny. And that they do have choices. They're not in the prison that they felt like, yes, might have slightly been in their situations, but they were created in the end by them and the limitation and the boxes that are themselves. That's why they've been running from this, thinking like, you're not going to lock me down, you're not going to put me in this box. And the only reason they feel that way is they're projecting it because they've been putting themselves in a box. And just like I was saying with the whole growing in the spirituality, I mean, it's your own box that you've been putting yourself in. Everything's projected. So, you know, they're starting to get to a point that instead of going on their temptations and looking at all the shiny new objects and surface level things, they're starting to look a little bit deeper within and more in the beauty on the inside and choosing love. So those are their things. The Divine Feminine's 3 cards are do something for someone else, give your attention to someone else. She's being very nurturing. Show simple acts of kindness. A simple act of kindness can energize you and bring happiness to those around you. Wow, this really fits a lot of your stuff. And spiritual connection. This relationship has a connection that goes beyond this lifetime. Okay, so do something for someone else. That's what I was saying before, as well as simple acts of kindness. This is talking about for yourself. So show yourself love, give yourself energy, your path, your mission, self-love. You know, energetically go to yourself, your path, your mission, helping others. Not only is this going to work on you and get it off of him so that A, he's not running from you, but also it teaches him energetically and through leading by example to do it for themselves. But it also makes it to where you feel better. It helps prepare them. But it also, you might have been a little bit down and out because things haven't been going exactly the way you want. So not only is this going to help you help them, but it's also going to make you feel better and feel that love. Like you may not have been feeling the love from him. So you're not, you know, God, I keep thinking, can you feel the love tonight by the Lion King in the Lion King? But maybe you haven't been feeling the love. So if it's making you sad, a little bit down and out energetically, that is not helping this connection or situation. So go put it into yourself and helping others. And not only is that going to help raise your frequency and feel better, but that gratitude you feel back, don't do it for the gratitude or you're going to be disappointed sometimes. You are going to receive it somewhat back though, and when you do, it is going to raise your frequency. That is going to help this connection. So don't get so much in a little, don't let the connection pull you in like a bah-humbug mood, because then you're just going to be sitting in the same frequency he is, and the idea is to raise yourself so he raises up. Don't forget that. Spiritual connection, this relationship has a connection that goes beyond this lifetime. Remember when I said before, like, you're questioning it, like, why, that deep knowing, you know, where you do kind of question it sometimes, what you feel and what you see does not match it, that 3D reality. You know, you're right. You're right in what you feel. This lasts a lifetime, beyond this lifetime. You might have been together in past lives, or, you know, the connection is just way above, you know, this earthly realm. So just know that you were right. This kind of coincides with what I'm saying. 7 plus 2, the number there is 27. I don't know if you can see that, but 7 plus 2 is 9, and 9 is being at the end of a journey, the end of, so hopefully you are at the end of this. A lot of times they say, you know, twin flames don't really meet up in the lifetime in union until it's their last lifetime, their last time here on Earth. So maybe this is the end of your road, or your end of your karmic, how many times you're coming down, and maybe you just might meet up. It has lasted beyond this life, and your number here is 9, which is the end of a journey, the end of a battle. Hopefully this is coming back around soon, or maybe you really will come in to union. But you see almost this spiritual, energetic connection. There's, you can't really see it, there's a family walking on this between them, and they're walking like, I want to say dogs, but to be honest, one of them kind of looks like a cheetah, a bear or something. And then down here, like, you know, they're dancing. It's like you've known each other in other lives. Maybe in those lives you didn't come together. Maybe in this life you will. Maybe this life is the end of that back and forth, and maybe hopefully you've learned all your karmic things to be able to come back together. But either way, yes, this is confirmation. This spiritual connection does go beyond this earthly realm and lifetime. So I think that's it. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. But just keep your head up. Keep going. Be patient. You know, he is doing the work. Your card that popped out, because I was just like led to shuffle, 10 of Pentacles. Abundance, nurturing, having all the things you want and need. It is coming. May not be exactly in the way you want. That's kind of the thing about this journey. Let it unfold naturally. Have patience. Do self-work. Focus energetically somewhere else. Let him stop running. Him, her, stop running. Do their thing. Evolve. No judgment. Understand and have compassion for their journey. They are working on it. They do see the work you've put in, and they do see you for the treasure that you are, divine feminines. Divine masculines. No judgment here. Do you. Rock on. Grow. Stop resisting. Please like, share, subscribe, comment below. Also, I recommend when you subscribe, click the bell So anytime I post a video, I'll be doing videos on numerous different things. Monthly horoscope videos on all the signs. I'll either do weeklies or bi-weeklies, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to do weeklies. I'm going to be doing love readings. I'm going to try every week or every 2 weeks to do an update on twin flames, spiritual connections, the divine feminine, divine masculine, what's going on. But please like, share, comment, subscribe. It's all of them, but comment too. Let me know your situation. I really want to know what's going on. I'm really wanting to share my thoughts on things. I'll be doing videos on my views of things and channeling, and as things go up, and sometimes just random videos if I'm led to, for just whoever happens to see the video, who the message is supposed to go for. But please comment and tell me what you think, any ideas, what your situation is. If there's any questions, I'll try my best to help. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, comment. And I look forward to the future of this with everybody and getting to know people. So just share yourselves with me. I'm interested to see what people have to say and where they are in their journeys. So I hope everything is going well. I hope everybody is having a good November. These are some really intense energies with the full moon in Taurus and the new moon in Scorpio. And that Scorpio energy is going to be actually for a good little while, just because of Jupiter being in Scorpio and that energy being expanded. So hang in there, because there's a lot of changes coming, and a lot of that probably is going to affect the divine masculines and feminines. So just hang in there. But yeah, do all that stuff I said if you can. I would greatly appreciate it. I thank you guys for everything, and just keep doing the work. That's what brings results. No expectations. Work on yourself. Don't work so much on something you can't control, somebody else. Let that unfold naturally. All right, I'm gonna go. I just wanted to say that. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Thank you so much. I love you all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.